There you go. Okay, so we began yesterday on a new parak, and we had left the Shevuous Hadayanim, the Shevuous the rice of Moed B'Miktsas, and we said there were Shevuous the Rabbanon where, as opposed to Shevuous the Raisa, which you swear and get off the hook, and again, for the umpteenth time, the three Shevuous the Raisas are Shevuous Eid Echad, Shevuous Moed B'Miktsas, and Shevuous HaShomrim. And in those cases, you're getting off the hook. So there are Shevuos where the Chacham said you swear and you collect. There were a few scenarios. There was one of a worker, a Sachir. There was one of a Nigzal. There's one of a Nechbal. And we did all of these. Now, and Rabbi Yehuda said it's only in a scenario of Moed B'Miktsas. We went through all of them. We're up to the next one is the Chosher al Shvua. So the bottom line on Mem Dalet Amid Beis. Shekenegde choshed al hashvua. Okay, so what's the case of shekenegde choshed al hashvua, where one person can't swear, and therefore you're going to have the other person swear. You're going to have the other person swear and collect. Achas shvuas ha'edus, whether a person is choshed on shvuas ha'edus, in other words, you won't allow him to swear. Va'achas shvuas ha'pikadon is choshed on shvuas ha'pikadon. Va'afil shvuas shav. So in all these cases, if the guy is swearing to get off the hook, we won't let him get off the hook. We'll have the other. He can't swear for whatever reason. You know, he's chashiv for these shuas. Memela, since we're chayiv, if this guy's going to lie, we won't let him swear. In addition to that, one of the litigants involved was a Mesachek Bekovya. He was a played dice gambler, Malva Baribis, or he lent for usury. We saw two pshatim, either they raced pigeons or he had one pigeon trained to lead other pigeons away from their coop to his. The soichrei shvius, or people who do business with produce of shvius, all these people are apostle for edus, and therefore they're choshed. And since they're choshed, these are all the rabbanon shekeneged nishba v'noitel, and the one opposite would go ahead and swear. So in the case where these people would have to swear, and we won't let them swear, so the person opposite them is going to swear and take. They were going to swear to get off the hook. We'll have the other person swear to get to collect. Are you shneim chashudim? Let's say both of them zen and nishkan grois tzadikim. Let's say they're both what? They're both chashid. Chaz v'shvulim kaima. The shvul goes back to its place. Divrei Rabbi Yossi, and the Gemara will explain. You divide it up. No one swears, and you divide it up. Okay, the next case was chenvani al pinkasai, literally the chenvani on his pinkus, on his ledger, and this is a common thing where even today they have a ledger where they keep the hakafa. The people have credit. You go to Eretz Yisrael, the makolitz, and even in America, I know around the corner, the guy around the corner from me, that people put it on our credit, and they pay at a certain time. So that's chenvani al pinkasai. Ketzad. Lo sheyoyim aloi kosev al pinkasi shatachayav limatayim zuz. Now, in other words, the guy can't come over to you and say, listen, I have written on my pinkus that you owe me 200 zuz, that he's going to swear and take the 200 zuz. That's not the case. That is not the case. That's not the case. Ella, what's the case? Oim eloi tein lebenisa sayim chitin. Give my son 2 saw of wheat, or tein lepoyalai, or give my poyalim sela mois. Give my poyalim bisela mois. In other words, the sela is a larger denomination. Give a smaller denomination mois of, break that down and give it to them. So you're making a request. The Balabayas is making a request from a chenvani in one or two scenarios, either to give his kids food, or to give poyalim change, X amount of money in change. Hu oimer, the chenvani says, nasati, I gave it. The hein oimrim, and the poyalim say, loy natalnim, we never took it. So the Balabayas has two things over here. He has the telling the chenvani to give to others. Both are claiming, one said he gave it, and one said they received it. So the Balabaya seems to be stuck. He may have to pay twice. Who nishba v'noito? He, the chenvani, swears and takes. He collects from the Balabayas. V'heinish boyim v'noitlin. And they swear and collect from the Balabayas. This is a case of chenvani up in Kasloi where you make a shvua and you take. So again, both people are claiming. The chenvani is claiming he gave it, and therefore you, the Balabas, owe me money. The Poilim are claiming that what? That they never received it, and you, the Balabas, owe me money. Again, the Chenvani owed nothing to the workers. It's the Balabas who owed. So the Balabas owed two people. He owed the Chenvani, and he owed the workers. So what's the halacha? Says the Mishnah, who nishba v'naito, the Chenvani swears and takes, v'hei nishbayim v'naitlin, and they swear and they take. Good. Amar ben Nanis. Kate said, "Elu ve'elu boili day shua shav." This, if this sounds familiar, guys, it's the opening Gemara in Masech the Bab Metzia. Right. So that's usually by that time we're still listening in yeshiva, that base. Right. So, we start in this man, it's going to be different. There's always the first blot is always in Bab Metzia Grata. If you make it through the first blot, you're okay. Well, I don't know. In my opinion, hardest Masech Neshas. In my humble opinion, hardest Masech Neshas. But I said that to the Daf countless times. That the Welt says Erevin Ani, Erevin Nida Yavamis says the three hardest Masechtas. Bab Mitzvah to me is my Waterloo. Okay. Anyway, so Benana says over there, you guarantee that someone's going to lie. You're guaranteeing someone's going to lie. Elohu Noitel. He, the Chenvani, takes Shaloi B'Shvua. The Rang is Gairis, guys. Who Noitel B'Shvua, V'hein Noitlin Shaloi B'Shvua. So according to the Girsa that we have, guys, they both take without a Shua. According to the Girsa of the Ran, no. The Chenvani swears, and the other ones don't. But there is a Shua here. If there's only one Shua, no one's lying. No guarantee. Next case. Amla Chenvani, Tainli Bedina Paris. This is now, guys, this is not between the Chenvani and workers, or Chenvani and a son. This is between the Balabayas and the Chenvani himself. Right? This is between the Balabayas and the Chenvani himself. Okay. So now, he says, Tainli Bedina Paris, give for me a dinar worth of Paris. For Nasanloi, and he gives him the Paris. Amaloi, says the Chenvani, Tainli Isa dinar. Give me the dinar. Amaloi, Nasativlach. I gave it to you. I gave you the dinar. V'nasloi bun pali, and you put it in your pouch. So he has the Paris. Now we'll see in the Gemara what exactly the case is over here. He has the Paris. He's holding on to the Paris. The Chenvani says, and he claims the Chenvani collected the money, and the Chenvani says no. Yishov balabaya shenasan leis a dinar. He swears that he gave the dinar, and he takes the Paris. So again, another case of nishba v'noitel. Amaloi tainli es ha-Paris. Okay, so now he gives the money, and he says, "Give me my Paris." So now, in the first case, he gave the dinar, and in the first case, he gave the Chavani gave the Paris, so he was holding on to the Paris. In this case, he doesn't have the Paris. And Amalai Nasativlach. And the Chavani said, I gave it to you already. But Lachtim Taibeschan, you took it home. Then in that case, Yeshua Chenvani, he swears and he keeps the money. Right? He swears. No, he gave the money. There's no question he got the money. The question is, did he get the Paris or not? Okay, the Gemara is going to elaborate upon these cases. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Kol Shah Peiros Biyadoi, anyone who has the Paris, Yadei Alo Yaina. Now, what is Rabbi Yehuda saying? Guys, look at Rashi. Go up a bit. Parallel to the Gemara, 4 lines down. Kol Shah Peiros Biyadoi, Yadei Alo Yaina, Aresha Polig. He's arguing on the Resha. Kidiktani. Says that, what was the first case? He said he gave the dinar. He said, I never got it. He says, you put it in your purse. So he swears on that case, right? In that case, the Baal Bayis swears. So on that case, Rabbi Yehuda says, right? Also, Rabbi Yehuda Lemema ain't sarach shua. He doesn't have to swear. She'ein derech chenvani amoicher shaloi ba'akafa. It's not the derech of a chenvani who sells without credit. Litin es ha'peiros that shekabel es a dinar. In other words, guys, we have an umdina de mukach that he paid. In other words, usually a chenvani deals with credit. Obviously, in this case, you're not dealing with credit because there's an exchange, a direct exchange. If you're a chenvani that's not dealing with credit, you're dealing with cash, what you're going to say? What? No tiki, no washi. Right? You're going to say you're not getting this unless you paid up. Memela said Rabbi Yehuda, in the case where you're requiring the Baal Bayis to swear, right? You don't have to. He doesn't have to swear that he paid. Why? Because there's no way the chenvani would have given him the peiros, which he's holding on to, without being paid. So that Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kol she'apeiros biyadai. In this case, the Baal Bayis yadai el yoina, and there's no need for him to swear. So in the first case, where the Baal Bayis is holding the peiros, and the chenvani is saying, "Give me my money," and he said he did, we believe him. There's an umdana de mukach that he gave it to him. Because since this chenvani is not being slemich on credit, why in the world would he give him the peiros if he didn't give him the money? Right? As we say, no tiki, no washi. There you go. Boom. So therefore, Rabbi Yehuda disagrees with the Tanakama. There is no need for the Baal Bayis to swear. There's no need for the Baal Bayis to swear. In this Mishnah, it's very hard to find out where it's going on what. Yes, Rabbi Avi, what's your problem?
Isn't in this case the according to Tanakama, the shvua is allowing him to keep something? Isn't that a deraisa shvua?
No, to what? What do you mean?
All the other cases, he's swearing and collecting.
What he's taking, he's collecting. He's collecting. He said he gave him. He went ahead. He gave him peiros. He has what? He has money. So he's taking. He's taking the peiros. He's neitel. He's taking the peiros. He swears and he takes.
He has to pay.
The raisa is getting off the hook. The raisa is, I don't owe you anything. Here, he's holding on to peiros. He's keeping the peiros. He's neitel. He's taking it. We're not taking it away from him. Now, just like there's a chenvani fellas, there's a shulchani. Again, they used to have money changers. These people would go ahead. They would break down, do one or two things. They would break down a larger denomination for smaller denominations, or they would break down small denominations into a larger denomination to keep. It seems copper did not have a staying power like silver or gold. So that was the shulchani's job. And he would take a certain percentage for his services. That's called the shulchani. Okay. So now, I'm with the shulchani. Tainli b'dinar mois. Give me for a dinar. Give me mois, smaller denominations. V'nasan loy, and he gives it to him. Amaloi, tainli as a dinar. Now the chenvani says, the shulchani says, give me the dinar. Similar to the chenvani said, give me my money. Amaloi, nasati l'cha, I gave it to you already. V'nasan loy bun pali, and you put it in your your pocketbook there. So he shove Baal Bayis, he swears. This is nishma v'naitel avi. He's swearing and he's taking. It's not key. You're learning since he has it, it's his already. There's no right that it's his already. It's under discussion. It's not his. So he's by him swearing, he's keeping it. You show Baal Bayis. You understand, Rabbi? You're learning that you're learning it belongs to him already. It doesn't belong to him. It's a shaila. It's a shaila. You make a claim by a shvua deraisa, right? You're making a claim by shvua deraisa. You're saying, I don't owe you anything. So you're swearing, I don't owe you anything, and you don't owe anything. Over here, there's a claim on something. I admit that there's a business deal over here. You're going to give me this, and I'm going to give you this. Good. You're going to give me this, and I'm going to give you this. Good. You claim that what? It doesn't belong to me because I paid you. You didn't pay me. I say it does belong to me because I did pay you. My shvu is allowing me to keep this. That's a shvu of a noitel, Avi. That's not. It's a big difference. I don't know if I can explain it any better. Now, so you show Baal Bayis nasan lo yasadina, Again, this is the case of Paris. You brought home already. This you took home your money already. Yeshava Shulchani, he swears. Again, the same case by Shulchani. Rabbi Omer, again, it's going to go back on the first case. Ain't there Shulchani litein israt shiyit aldina? And therefore the Balabayas, there's no way in the world that he would have to swear, because obviously the Shulchani did not go ahead and give it to him unless he had paid him. Okay. Now the next part of the Mishnah is not the same as now this Mishnah is in Masechta Ksubis. Now we already met something called Pageya Bishtar. If a woman has a ksuba that owes me, let's say 100 or 200, whatever it is, and she comes to collect, and the guy says you paid the whole thing, and she says you only paid half. So usually holding on to the shtar would guarantee a collection. By her saying that part was paid off already, she's poigemes, she's pogam, she blemishes a ksuba, and therefore she's gonna have to swear. Kishem she'amru hapoigemes ksubasa le'sipara ela b'shvua. Right? Again, how is she poigem her ksuba by admitting that part of it was paid up already? Or ve'erecha me'ida she parua. The erecha said the whole thing was paid up. Le'sipara ela b'shvua. In addition, if the woman wants to collect a ksuba minachasim mishubadim from people from lands that were part at the time and part of her husband's estate at the time, and now there was a lien on them, or her husband's dead and she wants to collect minichse yisaimim, in this case, leisipar el b'shua. So just like we said all of those cases, and indeed there's more cases. V'hanifras shalei b'fanav, she gets divorced. He sends a get from overseas, and she's collecting a ksuba shlei b'fanav, leisipara el b'shua. Right? You collect b'shua. V'chein yisaimim le'iparu el b'shua. Yisaimim, they just like all those cases, you need to collect with a shvua. Also, yisaimim who come to collect b'shvua. It's speaking about yisaimim who come to collect from yisaimim, guys. It's speaking about yisaimim that come to collect from yisaimim, and they're claiming from the chayiv that was owed for them to their father, from the deceased, to the deceased, and we don't know if the father paid it up or not. Okay. So that's the case over there. And again, we'll see it more about Riches. And what's the shua? Shua shlei pikdanu abba. They make a shua that our father he didn't command us that at the time of his death. Abba, at the time of his death that he was paid up. A receipt. Shall abba sheshta perua. In other words, so we don't know for sure. My time of death, he never said anything. He never commanded us. We didn't find the receipt. In these cases, they want to collect, they have to collect with a shua. Even is not around at the time, he could swear and collect. If there's Adim that says the shtar was not collected, then they would collect without a shua. And these usually a taina is a vadai, guys. These can go ahead. They a shvua even without a tainus vadai, a tainus suffix. That's the chiddush over here. And these the ones we're going to count nishboyin shalei b'taina, not a tainus vadai, but a tainus suffix. Ashutfin partners, arisin sharecroppers, where a person was working for a certain percentage of the crop. Vaputropin, people who were in charge of an estate, power of attorney, or v'isha noisas that says a married woman, right, and she's busy with the business dealings of the house. Ben Abayas, in all these cases, Ben Abayas is the son who's dealing with the estate for all his brothers. In these cases, a guy could be Moira Heta. You know what? It's part of mine. I'm a sharecropper. Isha, I'm going to pay myself for my services. You know, all these cases, a person is apt to go ahead and we'll take from the till, something like that, gonna take advantage a little bit over there. Why? Because after I worked for it. So all these cases that you swear without what? Al suffix. You swear out suffix. Again, this mission is packed with ideas. We'll see more in the Gemara. Amaloi ma'ata taneni. What are you claiming? Because with Soini, I want Shetishav Ali. I want that you should swear to me that you didn't go ahead and take from the till. Chayev, you chayev to swear. So even though it's a suffix, they can make the other person swear. Cholku or shutafin. That's before that's before there was they dissolved the partnership. Cholku or shutafin. Once the partnership is dissolved, the arisin. Once the sharecropper has finished and it's over with, and yachal ashpir, you can make the other person swear. So this din nishboyin means you make the other person swear with a tiny suffix that perhaps you abuse your position to go ahead and take a little bit more. This in a case where what? In this last case, where it was dissolved the partnership, however, there was a shua from another place, then you can go ahead. Then you're able to go ahead and throw the whole thing upon them. However, and the final din, which has nothing to do with anything, Shvius Mishametis is a shua, and Shvius, guys, let's have a shua made of mixes. Guys, shua made of mixes, chayiv, shmita comes, it takes off the shua. You have a chiyav shua made of mixes, come shmita, the shua is off already. Okay, what was the first din of the Mishnah? If you remember from last night, is the din of the sachir. Right, the sachir, right? He goes ahead. Let's go back and see the Mishnah. 4 lines down. Hasacher ketzad oimer loi tein li schari sheyesh li biyadcha. Give me the schar that is to me in your hands. Give me the wages. Hu oimer nasati. He says what? I gave it. V'hala omar loi natalti. And he says I never took it. He said I gave it. He said I never took it. Hu nishba v'noitel. So what's going to happen? He's going to swear, right? He's going to swear and collect. He's going to swear. And okay. Now, who should swear? He should swear that he gave it. He should swear that he gave it. So he said, no, we don't. He doesn't swear, even though no, but and that would get him off the hook. But no, maybe Rabbi Avi will understand a little better now. He swear that what? That he gave it, and get him off the hook. So no, he swears and he takes. That's taking. In other words, without a shvua, you won't get it. Okay, so now, all shvuos in the Torah, they swear and they don't pay. Minalon, again, the 3 shvuos, the Raisa, the Amakra, the Lachu Balav, the Lo Yishalim. So the pasuk in Mishpatim. Shevuous Hashem tia ben shneihem. A Shevuous Hashem should be between them. And if he did not go ahead and use the object, the lokach ba'olav lo yishalim. So that's the shvua. The lokach ba'olav lo yishalim. He takes it. He doesn't swear, and it doesn't pay. The lokach lo yishalim. Misha alav l'shalim lo shvua. So we see Misha alav l'shalim is a shvua. Rashi. V'lokach ba'alav, Reisha the cross Shevuous Hashem tiyeh ben shneihem. V'lokach ba'alav es hashvua. V'lo yishalim hanitva shuv klum. And that's it. He doesn't pay. He makes a shvua v'lo yishman. He doesn't pay. Be'el nishbayim v'noitlin. Now we said the sachir. Ma'ishna sachir the tekinu le'rabbanon the mishtabe v'shakol. Why did they say the sachir swears and takes? Why don't you just say why don't you say he swears that he gave it and gets off the hook? In other words, you're right. I know this Mishnah discusses Shevuous D'Rabbanan, where you can swear and take. There's 2 options over here. I could just as easily have the Sachir, the Balabas. He could just as easily swear I gave it. Why do we give the power of the Shua to the Sachir? Why don't we keep the Shvua by the Balabas? After all, l'chayra, guys, he's been kaifa b'kol. He's been kaifa b'kol, right? He's saying, oh, guys, look at me. The sach is telling you owe me money. By saying I paid you, what's he saying? I owe you nothing. That's called kaifa b'kol, right? So really, the shvua should be by him. Now, there's an easy way out. The fact is, Rav Nachman did not have a Shevuous Hesses yet. Rav Nachman was later on. He didn't make a Shevuous Hesses yet. But it seems to be from the Rishonim that it's understood that we got to let this guy live. If every balabas can swear, I paid you, workers will be out of a job. They want to have nothing to live on. So in other words, there has to be that ability to go ahead and collect. It has to have that ability to go ahead and collect. So therefore, in the whole Gemara, you have to understand b'chedei chayav. In other words, that answers why the shvua is not kaifa b'kol, guys. Again, kaifa b'kol is pata. Shvuas hesses isn't around. So why in the world he should swear, he shouldn't have to swear anything. He should be gone. Kaifa b'kol, there is no shvua. Yet we're putting a shvua on here, on what? Who are we putting a shvua on? On the sachir, in order for the sachir to be able to live. That's understood in the sugya, guys. Good? Before we start. So now, the question is, why do we keep it by him? Ma'ishna sachir de takino rebana de mishtabe v'shakol. Amrav Yudah Mishmuel. Halachas gedai l'shanu kan. We're learning big halachas over here. Now the Gemara assumption is halacha means halacha l'mashmi Sinai. Says the Gemara, kan halachas hani hilchas ininu. Now this is not halacha l'mashmi Sinai that nishba v'naitel. Ela ema takonis gedai l'shanu kan. Big takonis. Gedoilas mechal deka ketanos. Ela Amar of Nachman, if you want to be the correct, Amar Shmuel takonis kavuas shanu kan. We're learning takonis kavuas. Set, we're learning takonis kavuas here. Akura bona l'shvua mi balabayas. They will oika the shvua from the balabayas. V'shadu at sachir. In other words, the balabayas should have swore that what? I don't owe you anything. That's the classic shvua. The classic shvua is I swear and I'm off the hook. That's what you should do. But what did they do? They took that shvua away from the balabayas, v'shadua asachir, to swear and take. Mishum kidei chayav, in order that he should have what to live. Says the Gemara, Mishum kidei chayav, the sachir kansin leila balabayas. Just because we want him to live, we consider balabayas that he can't swear to get off the hook. Says the Gemara, balabayas gufa nichalei din mishtabe sachir. No. The balabayas is happy that the sachir is going to swear. The shakel. You know why? He hechi is garin loy poilim. Listen, you got a field to work. You got a house to build, right? Where was they used to wait on 39th Street of Rami? Where the guys used to wait? The workers. 39th? Is he alive? I think he's frozen. Just his pictures there. He's sleeping? Okay, anyway, I'm talking to the Vant. So, but I think they used to wait, the workers used to wait and you can't pick them up. So now, if this balabas can swear and get off the hook, he's not going to have workers. The workers want to know that, you know what, if there's going to be some type of vikuach between us, there's going to be a litigancy between us, that I can go ahead, swear, and get my money. And the balabais is happy with that. He's willing to go ahead and have him swear. Why? For future workers. A psychological reason. He wants future workers. So I'd rather them swear. Oh, no, you're alive now. 39th Street, that's where you used to get the workers? Okay, good. Anyway, his wife woke him up. He was sleeping by the wheel. Anyway. That's what I get for making fun of you.
Is it an opinion that a person would rather someone else swear than him? Because people don't take a shvua. No?
Not necessarily. Not when it comes to money. When it comes to money, a person very often would rather swear than, no guarantee. Again, people for themselves, maybe they'd rather go ahead and pay and not swear. I'm not sure if every situation lends itself to that. I'm not sure. Anyway, so therefore, he's happy that the worker is going to swear like this. He's guaranteed to what? To have workers. Adarabba, he's happy what? That the Balabayas swears, right? v'nafka ki heichi deligri balabayis. In other words, he's the opposite svara, guys. You can say the opposite svara. Guys, if the balabayis knows that this worker can swear and take his money, maybe he's not going to hire you. In other words, the dynamics works both ways. The balabas is happy that he swears that he should get workers. The worker is happy the balabas swears that he'll have a job. Good, he'll have a job. Says the Gemara, Kihech the ligri balabayis al karche agar. No, that's not true. Balabayis needs workers, so we rather him swear. Adarabba, sachanami al karche mitgar. He al karche what is he needs to work. So we're at a stance over here. Why in the world is what? Why in the world is the sachas right now? Let's understand this again. Is there any shvu here at all? Guys, let's go through this. I think it's important. Is there any shvu here at all? He claims I paid you. He says you didn't. By saying I didn't pay, I paid you, he's been kaifer b'kol. If you're kaifer b'kol, there's really no shvua. So what does the Gemara mean? They take the shvua from the balabayas and they throw it on the worker. What shvua are you talking about? There's no shvuas hesses yet. So I think the Tosfos gives us clarity over here. Says Tosfos, the second Tosfos down. Hakru rabbanon shvua mi balabayas. Afal gav the kaifer hakol pater. Fake Tosfos the kasha. What kind of shvua? What kind of shvua? Kaifer b'kol is pater. The this kind of shvuas hesses ad b'mei Rav Nachman, because they didn't have a shvuas hesses yet. So what kind of shvua is there? The kamakoim al balabayas shayich tvei. I think this is the hezber of Kidei Chayav, guys. It's more shaykh the shvua of him Kidei Chayav. You know, it's that there should be a shvua over here Kidei Chayav of the owner of the worker. In addition, even if there was, let's say the case was not kaifa b'kol. Let's say the balabayas said, "You're claiming 100, I only 50." Even though usually the balabayas would swear. In this case, we'll take it and throw it on the owner. So on the sachir. So even when there is a shvu on the balabayas, well, it's not kaifa b'kol. It's not kaifa b'kol. So Tosfos again, see, there isn't understood that there's a shvu over here. We're not gonna, even though we weren't attacking the shvu of kaifa b'kol till later on, it's understood that there has to be a scenario where this guy could collect. That scenario would be that the balabayas would have to swear that he paid him. That possibility we're going to take from the balabayas and throw on the sachir. Another Tosfos teretz, and even when the vada is a shvu deraisa, shvu is moed b'miktsas. When the balabayas said, "I paid you half," we're going to take that shvua, not let the balabayas get off the other half. You hear this, guys? We're not going to not get off the other half. He's going to go ahead and swear that what? That you didn't pay me the other 50, and he's going to collect the 50. So it's a beautiful Tosfos. It gives us a haggadara of what we're speaking about. But right now we're stuck. So now we know we're throwing it onto what? Onto the worker, but we don't know why. Now, Kidei Chayav is there, but that only takes care of the kaifer b'kol part. Why are we throwing it on him? Says the Gemara, I'll tell you why. Ella, guys, Ella's the best, right? Ella means Ella's the best. Rebbe never taught, your early Rebbe never taught you what an Ella was. An Ella is the dead end, start again. Ella, balabayas torid b'payalav. Ooh, that's the teretz. This guy says, "You never paid me." Balabayas said, "I did." Balabayas has got a bunch of Mexicans coming. He's going to do. There's no guarantee he paid this guy. He's being torrid paying a bunch of guys. He's being so torrid paying a bunch of guys. So this frum guy, he's among all these guys. He didn't get paid. So it's mistaber more that he didn't get paid, and the balabayas mistakenly thought he paid him, and therefore we take the shvua from the balabas and we throw it on the owner, on the worker. We throw it on the worker. That's the svara. That's the svara that the Balabayas is Torrid. Fred Gemara Valdesa make Kara. Now we don't want people making Shevuous. Rabbi said we don't want people making Shevuous. So you know what we're going to do? Why doesn't go ahead? And I skipped. Valdesa below Shvua. Go make so. Therefore, if this is such a strong taina, why does he have to make a shvua at all? If there's an umdina that what he didn't pay, so why do I have to make a shvua? You were shuld and you were busy. I'm saying you didn't pay me. Why do I have to swear? And for the Gemara, the reason to swear is to go ahead and assuage the das of the balabas. He thinks he paid you. Granted, there's a lot of people to pay. He thinks he paid you. To make him feel a little more comfortable by you making a shvua. I mean, I had such an uvda. I had such a case with a wine store. I had a credit in a wine store. I knew I had a credit in the wine store. I knew for sure I had a credit in the wine store. And the guy said it was about $700. And the guy said he doesn't think I have a credit, but we'll leave it up to your son-in-law who was there. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, leaving up to the son-in-law who was there. I know unequivocally for sure that I have a $700 credit. So he goes, Rabbi Stern, you sure? He said, you're sure. I said, listen, I'm not making a sure. So he goes, Rabbi Stern, I trust you. But in other words, he needed that assurance. It's a normal thing. He needed that insurance. So over here as well. So he wants the assurance. Swear. Fred the Gemara, let's avoid this shvua. If the whole reason is that what? That he's not sure he paid, I can avoid the shvua. But let when he goes ahead and makes payment up, have Adam standing there, pay up, and then Adam will come and say whether you paid or you didn't. Since the balabas doesn't have it in zin, you'll have Adam there. It's a tircha to bring Adam. Every time you want to pay a person, you have Adam. It's not practical. It's not practical. It can't work. Fred Gemara, pay him earlier in the day before he goes to work. You're going to pay him. At that time, each person will get paid. They haven't worked yet. He's going to. We want to avoid the shvua. If the whole shvua is to go ahead and to assuage the das of the balabas, I can avoid that. So go ahead, pay him in the day. Pay him before he works. Says Gemara Shneim writes in Bakafa. They both want credit. They both want it. They both want it. Look at Rashi. Let's Rashi in the page. Shneim writes in Bakafa. Balabayis pa'omim shein mitzuyos lei moya shachris. He doesn't have money in the morning, so he'd rather go ahead and own the money. Maybe he'll get money at the end of the day. He's getting money at the beginning of the day, lose the money. At the end of the day, he'll have garnish. So better, you want at the end. It's a normal thing. So therefore, your practical reasons, guys, your practical reasons for trying to avoid the shvua is not there. So let's chaz riba. Let's chaz riba. We have one case. We're discussing a mishnah of nishba v'noitel. What's the case? Simple case. Guy goes to work. Owner says he paid him. He says he didn't pay me. The balabayas should make a shvua that he didn't pay. We take the shvua from the balabayas and we throw it bad on the worker. And why don't we believe the balabas? Because the balabais is tarid. He's tarid, and he's not sure that he paid him. He's not, and the worker is going to go ahead and swear. If he's not sure what he's to collect, to lehefes taitish balabas. That's the reason. Ihachi, if so, guys, you always have to answer in learning ihachi. If so, what? If not, zag the Heilige Rashi. Ihachi demishum tirda de balabais shaklu l'shvua minei. Because the tirda, the balabayas, we took away the shvua for him, since he can't swear unequivocally that he didn't pay. Again, why we take the shvua away from him? Because he thinks he paid him, but he can't swear that he didn't pay him. He thinks he didn't pay him, but he can't swear that he didn't pay him, right? So therefore, ihachi afilu kotzetznami. Even if what? We're not talking about pay. We're talking about getting paid or not. We're talking about setting a price. In other words, the shaila we had until now, this Benji is going to be nageh what we spoke about last night. The shaila that we had until now was there was a payment or there wasn't a payment. So there was a shaila about money. whose money it was. There was no muhsik in that case. We don't know who the money was by. What about the following scenario? You hired me out for X amount of money. You hired me out for $100. And this fellow says, no, I only hired you out for $50. According to this, the person who said 100 should swear that you hired me out for 100 because you're so busy with workers. And halacha is, over here, the balaboy is muhsik. Because again, there's been no transfer of money yet. There's a question of wanting to take out money. In the first case, it's a koyach, right? This person, there's money, but who's it by? In this case, we know who the money is by. He didn't pay him yet. He didn't pay him yet. We know the money's by the balabas. You want to be might see that? Why? Why? If l'chayra, if he's so torrid, we should believe the worker that what? He should swear that it's 100 and get 100. Ihachi, afilu katzitznami, Allah matanya, on this we learned, umin oimer shnayim, the craftsman says you two. Katzatzli, v'alo yomer lo katzatzli ala achas, only one, right? Why don't we make the balaboy? Why do we make what the worker should swear over here and get what the full 100? Because the balaboy is torrid. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Ketzitza v'adei mitgadokale. The price of how he remembers. Guys, when it comes to the physical payment, we're not sure if he paid. He's torrid. He's busy paying other people. When it comes to the price that they set, that he remembers. There's no tear there, guys. He's setting a price. There's no tear. At the time he set the price, he's not torrid. Torrid in tashlumin is one thing. Torrid in a deal, he's not torrid in that deal. Faday mitgadokole. Ihachi, same question. Nonetheless, afilu of his manai nami, back to the original question. Ihachi, the balabayas is torrid, and maybe he forgot. And maybe he forgot that he paid. But again, the Ihachi is going back on the same Ihachi. It's not going back. Rashi, guys, I love pointing out in the lanus. If you would just go along this way, it's say Ihachi is going on the previous case of Kutzitz. This Ihachi is going back on the case before. Look at Rashi, fellas. Ihachi, the second Ihachi. Ihachi, the Balabai is Tarid, V'Shema Shakach, maybe he forgot. Afilu Tova Sachil Achasman. Notice Rashi's telling you, don't think it's going back on this previous case. It's going back 2 cases before. So right, it's going back. So now, we know that you're supposed to pay a worker. There's an issa to be oivas money. You can't go ahead and lay sullen, keeping his money overnight. You have to be very makbid in that. Very, very makbid in that. So now, afilu oivas money nami. Even if this man passes, he should not be believed. Allah matanya oivas money v'lei nasan loy. If this man passes and he didn't give it to him, he doesn't swear. The din of a sachir is only if the payment is mitaych's man. If this man is over, Rashi tells you what this man is. He brings in the Gemara from Makabel. A schir yoim is the laila, schir laila is the day. But once this man passes, then he can't swear and take. But why? Fellas, if the whole svara is that we can't say, he can't swear unequivocally that he paid him, what has to do with time? I'm supposed to pay you at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm never sure if I paid you or not, ever. Why? Because I'm torrid. So why would it mean that the next day, if you didn't swear, if you didn't come at night, and you can come the day afterwards, why would you lose him? Why can't you swear? The same svara of torrid is there. I still am short. If the svara is that what? That the balabais is torrid, it doesn't make any sense why the passage of time should affect the worker's ability to swear and collect. He should still be able to swear and collect, and he can't. As I read the Gemara. Ihachi afilu azman nami Allah matanya of azman of leinasan loy harizeh ein nishba v'naitel chazaka ein balabayis. Okay, and for the Gemara, chazaka ein balabayis over about kolin. Right? We have a chazaka that a balabayis won't be over about solin. I've army bal chovis torrid b'poilavu. That's the kasha, guys, not the teretz. It's the kasha. The kasha is over here. The reason why the next day he can't swear is because we know for sure the balabayis would not have been over in sullen. But why? Why would he not been over on Leisalim Schasachir? After all, he was torrid. After Gemara, Hani Mili Mikame Dilamate Zman Chiyuve. He's torrid before he reaches the Zman of the Chiyuv. Kimat Zman Chiyuv Rami and Afshir Mitka. Guy, we're dealing with a guy who makes a cheshbon and nefesh. Goes out the following. I'm busy. It's 3 p.m. My workers are coming for collection. 4 p.m. Guy says, I didn't get paid. He says, I paid you. You were tired at 3. We're going to throw the shvuah on this guy at 4. Let's say the day, 5 o'clock comes. 6 o'clock is the new day. And he's sitting there with his cheshbon. And he goes, oh, 1 second. You know what? I didn't pay that guy. He goes through the cheshbon because he knows at 6 he's going to be over Leisalim. So b'shash ma'isa at 3 p.m. he won't remember. But once this man is going to be that he can't go ahead and he'll be over on this deraisa, then he's going to remember. The mela, if after that zman the worker makes the claim and wants to swear, we won't let him swear. Because the whole reason to swear is he's torrid. The torrid left before 6 p.m. in my scenario, the torrid left already. You know why he left? Because the Isra of Leisalim took precedent and he wasn't going to be over on what? On Leisalim. Guys, good? One more time in the Gemara. Hani Mili, when do we say that he's torrid and the worker can swear and collect? Mikami Dilmat Zman Chiyuvahu. That's before you get this man of Leisalim. In my scenario, 6 p.m. Kimat Zman Chiyuve. Once you get this man of 6 p.m., Rami and Nafshi, he's going to go ahead and place it upon himself. Umitkar, and he's going to remember. Further Gemara, Mitoich this man at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. Worker says I didn't get paid. Why do we tell the worker? Oh, he was busy, you swear. Why in the world should he have to swear? After all, you're not going to be able to sigzol. Just like he's not going to be able to sullen, you're not going to be able to sigzol. And for Gemara, Gabe Balabayas Ikatrei Chaske. There's 2 chazakas by the Balabayas. Chada dein Balabayas over Blay Sullen. The Chada dein Sachir Mashir Scharoi. You know why? So we're adding a different Kanesh. It's not enough to say he won't be over on it. Guys, you know why the worker at 8 a.m. the next morning, guys, 8 a.m. the next morning, he can't swear anymore? Not one reason, 2 reasons. One, 4 at 6 p.m., that guy's going to be override on by Sullen. And a second reason, no worker is going to wait till 6 to 8 a.m. the next morning because he knows that this guy is going to be makbid at 6 p.m. So the fact that 2 things happened over here contributed to him not swearing. 2 things happened over here. One, by Sullen. In addition, the worker going ahead and delaying to pass that time is a reyesa that he must have paid already because he never would have waited so long. And that's the reason he doesn't swear after this man. That's the reason he doesn't swear after this man. Rav Nachman Amashmor. Leishanu that nishba v'naitel. Leishanu the nishba v'naitel. Right? You know what? Let's go over that place sigzol again. Let me do it one more time, guys. Le sigzol. Rashi, look at Rashi. Meaning, why can't he swear 8 a.m. the next morning? If he's swearing that he didn't get paid, it would mean that what? He got paid twice. What? In other words, what are we chayish for? That this guy at 8 a.m. is going to swear that he didn't get paid and he got paid already? Would he be over on sigzol? I mean, why? So on that we're answering that the reason is there's a reyes over here. He wouldn't have let it go. He would. That's why we don't let him swear. Couldn't. He never would have let it go. That he let it go so far, it's like who the Pashal Navshe. He's not over in Sullen. He wouldn't let it go. So at that point in time, ain't nachinami. Could be you were not paid, but we're not going to let you swear. Okay, so now the new Gemara. Lo shanu de nishba v'naito eloat shescharu be'edim. That he rented him out with Edim. The Edim that he said to him, work for me this day, right? For schar. In other words, the Edim that he hired him. Aval scharoi below Edim. If he hired out without Edim, mitoy sheyachal loy maloi loy schaticha mi'olam yachal loy maloi schaticha nesatil chascharcha. Okay, so the migu. You got a migu over here. In other words, if I have Edim that I hired you, so there's no shaila that you're my worker. That's the whole shaila, whether you get paid or not. On that we have the svara of that Balabai is Tarid. Sman. But let's say there are no Edim at all that I hired you, and you're coming and claiming from me money. Believe me that I paid you. Migu, I could have said, I never hired you at all. Migu, okay. So Rav Nachman's saying, Lo shanu, that nishba v'naito is where there's Edim that he was a hired worker. If there was no Edim that he was a hired worker, then it's not going to be a nishba v'naito. Then he's not going to be able to swear at all. So this is the statement of Rav Nachman. Amalei Rabbi Yitzchak says, Yishar. That's correct. Again, we had this earlier. And we have the same lashon. Machal de Poligale Reish Lakish. Machal de Reish Lakish argues when it says V'cheinam Rabbi Yochanan. Ikadiyami Mishtahu Shasik Lei. At the time, Rabbi Reish Lakish was drinking, and therefore, since he was drinking, he didn't get a chance to go ahead and say, "I agree." With Ikadiyami Mishtahu Shayilei V'Shasik Lei. He was waiting for Rav Yochanan to. If this sounds familiar, we had a little earlier. He was waiting. Reish Lakish was waiting for Rabbi Yochanan to finish his drasha, and then he would go ahead and question. Rabbi Yitzchak, well, I guess he left earlier and to get here a chance for him to say, okay. So this final thing we'll get into tomorrow. This thing about Edim, but Yotzim Midraveinu, we started a new parak, and we're discussing Shevuous of Nishba V'Noitel rather than Nishba didn't stay in one place. We're hopeful that at this time everyone understands what's going on over here, and again the pitch is over here that we have to get a little more clarity on. But Baruch Hashem, it's a pleasure